Today's gospel brings to mind one of the most famous miracles of Jesus, the feeding of the 5,000. Matthew tells us that a great multitude of people gathered around Jesus because they wanted their sick to be cured. And since they were hungry, they were fed by the Lord. Whenever we read this gospel text, we immediately say to ourselves, what a great miracle. Jesus did not only heal their sick, he also fed them all. But what does this miracle have to do with us? What does it mean for us to continue to struggle with COVID-19 pandemic? I wish to underline these two words, reflection and compassion. First, we focus on the word reflection. In the gospel, we are told that before feeding the crowd, when Jesus heard of the death of John the Baptist, he withdrew in a boat to a deserted place by himself. What did Jesus do? Jesus went to a solitary place, not simply because he wanted to sleep or to isolate himself from the people. Jesus had a special time for silence, to be with his Father who sent him. He always had a special or a space for personal reflection and prayer. Here one can surmise that Jesus did not only grieve over the death of his cousin, John the Baptist. In solitude, Jesus reflected on the status of his mission now that his precursor was beheaded. Jesus needed to reflect within the context of prayer in order to perceive the will of the Father. My dear friends, whenever we reflect, we don't only see our own image as if we are looking at ourselves in a mirror. When we reflect, we also see the people around and the circumstances surrounding us. Reflection, therefore, from the Christian perspective, is the act of finding time to see everything in the light of God. As we continue to face this pandemic, have we learned to reflect? Have we reflected on our helplessness despite the innovation of science, technology, and warfare? Have we reflected on the persons or the things that truly matter in life? Have we reflected on our mortality as we come face to face with an invisible enemy? Brothers and sisters, now that we are forced by circumstance to withdraw, let us make it a point to reflect and ask, what is God telling me right now? What is God's message for me? Second, we highlight the word compassion. Compassion means knowing how to suffer with the other. In the gospel, when Jesus saw the vast crowd who followed him on foot from their towns, bringing their sick, his heart was moved with pity for them. He felt compassion for them. Now, Jesus did not remain at the level of emotions or feelings. Just like when we say, kaluoy anak niya, no? Jesus did something concrete. Jesus cured the sick and he gave them food to eat. This is the essence of compassion, doing something concrete to alleviate the suffering of the other. My dear friends, during these trying times, we are all challenged by Jesus not to focus on ourselves, but to be instruments of His compassion. Kung mangutana si Jesus kanato karon, kinsa man ang imong natabangan ug napakitaan og buhat sa kaluoy? Aduna ba kitay matubag? Hinaot nga ang ebanghelyo karon magdasig kanato, no? Nga mamalandong ug nga madala nato ang pulong sa Dios diha sa atong kinabuhi. kanang pag-ampo o pag-console with all precautionary measures sa usa ka tawo nga nag-antos, visiting the sick, praying for them, helping a person who may be suffering right now from a financial crisis because he or she has lost his or her job. Whenever we do something out of mercy, we imitate the Lord. Jesus did not dismiss the crowds because he wanted them to experience his compassion. And it is interesting to note that Jesus did not perform a miracle out of nothing. It is worth noting that he had to wait for someone who was willing to share his 5 loaves and 2 fish, to teach his own disciples how to concretely show compassion. Indeed, my dear friends, this is a powerful reminder for all of us. God needs our cooperation. He needs our collaboration in the work of redemption. So we can ask ourselves, what are the 5 loaves and 2 fish that we are willing to share with others? As we continue to offer this Holy Mass, we ask for the grace that we may always know how to reflect within the context of prayer, and that we may always concretize the compassion of Jesus to others, not only in words, but in deeds.